Shalom, and welcome to our 29th annual Feast of Tabernacles. This is night 7 of It's Time to Make a Choice, Part 1.
The tabernacles was the sanctuary used by the Israelites during the Exodus. And the sanctuary of the temple of Yahweh is the Holy of Holies. The Exodus was not a past experience alone. It is a present reality. We are now at this moment exiting the American mindset. I'll repeat that. This moment, we are exiting the American mindset. Praise Yahweh. And holiness is the requirement of our freedom. You can never be free without holiness. There is no way. Simply no way. To exit America is to enter into the tabernacle of Yahweh. No other tabernacle is going to save you or protect you or give you freedom and justice and everlasting life. Believe me, all nations that have partaken in the wickedness of America must now make a choice between the principles of America and the principles of Yahweh. Must make a choice. The choice is the mindset of America, which represents a lot of people on this earth, and the mindset of Yahweh. Our present day tabernacle is the Holy of Holies. And if you don't know who the Holy of Holies is, and if you don't know who the Ark of the Covenant is, and if you don't know who the tabernacle of Yahweh is, all of them are the Son of Yahweh. And I am here to give you the elements of moral character which we must have in order to continue to exist in America. There is no way for you to continue to exist in America without moral character. No way. I was reading an article in today's newspaper, and the author was saying that because morality has ceased to be the order of the day in America, nothing but degeneracy has taken place. Pure moral decay of the entire society. All of the fabric of America is gone because children are not taught morality. He said, it's not that we need him to verify what Yahweh is saying. It's just the fact that there are those who can see it. He wrote about it. And I've read articles from other newspapers in other parts of the country that have also read it. And nothing has changed in America. Absolutely nothing has changed. So if people simply write about the problem of the lack of morality and nothing changes, obviously they're not the ones born to change it. Isn't that real? Quite obviously they're not. Yet, on the other hand, I am bringing about character reformation. I'm actually bringing it about. Character reformation. So I'm not simply saying that this is what's needed in America. I'm doing something about it. The children that are here in Yahweh University were thoroughly, completely exposed to an immoral school setting. And if they wanted to do better, there were no role models. They couldn't go and group themselves with other moral children. They had no way to know. In fact, peer pressure told them, don't think about trying to find anybody good in school. Just stick with yourself. Huh? Just stick with yourself. But the pressure was always on you to be other than good. Always, continually, every day, all day. And when you got home, you had the same pressure from television, whoever you chose to be around as your neighbors and friends. The same thing happened. But I have demonstrated I have a solution simply by establishing Yahweh University, where nothing but moral character is not only taught, but required. And what's important is it's not forced on our students. Our students require it. They desire it. They want it. And I have a policy where those who do not want a moral character are encouraged to go back where immorality is. Isn't that great? So what happens is we have a school full of children who want the good life. The good life. I'm developing a role model for America in Yahweh University that says you can have. That's not me, I guess. At any rate, we have children that are born to Yahweh who are growing up in Yahweh University. So the results are astonishing and can only get better. We can only have a greater youth coming forth. And while other people are worried about their schools going down and they can't do anything to change it, our school is going up. And we're doing everything that is required to make it do so. Historically, the tabernacle was the place where Yahweh, the God of Israel, revealed himself and dwelt among Israel. I am the medium through which you receive the instruction. I am the medium through which you receive the will of Yahweh. I reveal the words of Yahweh to you. That's what I do. Let's go to John chapter 16, verse 13. John chapter 16, verse 13. This describes my job among you. Read.
When he, the Spirit of truth, is come, he will guide you into all truth. For he shall not speak of himself, but whatsoever he shall hear, that shall he speak, and he will show you things to come.
That's my work among you. I'm doing a good job of that. I am the tabernacle, and I repeat to you that I'm the Ark of the Covenant, and I am the Holy of Holies, living in the flesh among you. St. John chapter 1. St. John chapter 1. I'm dwelling with you in the flesh. Verse 14. Read.
And the Word was made flesh, and dwelt among us, and we beheld his glory, the glory as of the only begotten of the Father, full of grace and truth.
Anyone who wants to deny that I'm in the flesh has to be blind. All of our high holy days, sometimes called festivals, serve as illustrations of how the covenant has operated throughout history. Each event with which our high holy days are associated is therefore constructed in terms of a reciprocal relationship between Yahweh and the people of the earth. His relationship with Israel first, and then the people of the earth. That's the way it works. It works the same as I am with you. I have come to you first. As you begin to praise your Creator, Yahweh, then other nations will begin to praise Yahweh. They will not praise Yahweh until you do. Other nations of the earth will not confess the name Yahweh until you do. The other nations' knees will not bow to Yahweh until your knees bow. Other nations will not glorify Yahweh until you glorify Him. Other nations will not give praises and thanks to Yahweh until you give praises and thanks to Yahweh. Other nations will never enter into the courts with thanksgiving and into His gates with praise until you enter into His courts with thanksgiving and into His gates with praise. Other nations will never make a joyful noise unto the Lord Yahweh until you make a joyful noise. Then all the land will clap their hands because you clap your hands. All the people of the earth will seek Yahweh as you seek Yahweh. Now, if you can understand what I've just said, then you understand clearly you are the leader of the world. Any people that are the first to lead others to the glory of Yahweh themselves become glorified in Yahweh, by Yahweh. Isn't that something to think about? And when you take on the righteousness of Yahweh, you will be exalted high above all nations on the earth. That's all it takes. That little simple prescription. Be right. Be good. Be honest. Be upright. Be honorable. Be straightforward. Isn't that something? That's easy. It's an easy life. A happy life. So we are responsible for the earth praising Yahweh. That's our responsibility. And then the earth will follow it. It's just like we're the people who create the high five. The whole world runs around doing the high five. They can't speak English, but they do that. Why? Because you did it. You do the twist. Next thing you know, the whole world is breaking their back, twisting. Why? They know you're the leader. So they follow you in foolishness. They'll also follow you in righteousness. You take drugs, the world takes drugs. Because they want whatever you want. They know who you are. There must be something in it. You doing it. The young people forgot you lost your mind. So they've lost their mind. The Feast of Tabernacles carries a particular meaning for us, the nation of Yahweh, which deals with universal and practical expressions of our commitment. Commitment to who? To the omnipotent Creator, Yahweh. It's all about our commitment. However, all nations are going to be required to come and worship the King of Israel, Yahweh ben Yahweh, during the Feast of Tabernacles. Now, think about that. That just doesn't seem reasonable. When you look at the condition that the so-called black man is in America, how in the world can all nations be required to do anything he does? Right? I mean, Look at us in your mind tonight and think about our pitiful condition. I don't really have to call your attention to it too strongly, do I? You saw it on your way to the Feast of Tabernacles. You see it every day, probably driving through your city. The so-called black man devastated. Even you have to admit, dead. Obviously, a destroyed people. They're talking about black men becoming an endangered species. He's not only endangered, he's going to be destroyed unless he comes to Yahweh. He's already destroyed. I mean, nothing left for him now but the second death. The first death has already taken him out. And yet the whole world is going to have to come and worship the King Yahweh ben Yahweh, whom the FBI and the government and all kinds of enemies are working day and night trying to figure out how to keep me from raising you up to praise Yahweh instead of them. They understand that when I move you from poverty to riches, that I've moved you from darkness to light. The government of America understands better than you where I'm moving when I teach how to move from poverty to riches. And you wonder why they want to stop it? They know that there will be 20,000 people, 16 to 20,000 people there who want to learn how to get out from under their control, under Yahweh's control. That's where I'm going to move them. That's upsetting. See, they understand that when I make you rich, the way I make you rich, and I'm not going to discuss that tonight, but they understand it, that when I make you rich the way I make you rich, they just lost control of you. You become a power. You come to power. Because as family, who can deny us? You can be denied as an individual, but we cannot be denied as family. I'm not worried about them, they're worried about me. You don't see any frown on my face, but you'll see shaking and trembling when they come around. They need a whole bunch of cars and a whole bunch of stuff just to bring some little old piece of paper and put it on the wall somewhere. And we ignore them. I mean, we could care less about them. There has to be earth-shaking to them that here's a whole group of people not disturbed about them. Isn't that amazing? I mean, no fear of them. Just none. None. Absolutely zero. I mean, you know, when you come up on a Negro and a black and an African American and they say FBI and they put a little jacket on, got little letters on it, you know, they just get all bent out of shape, through. They are through. Nervous diarrhea. You have to put them to bed, give them sentences. You know, I mean, they are finished. We're not concerned about, you know, every one of those fellas came out of his mother's womb. A little sucker. Every last one of them. What's so special about the little sucker? Something that you should be afraid of? You better be worried about our great, good, and terrible black God, Yahweh. You're talking about where the power is. All nations are going to have to worship the King of Israel. They all, can you believe that? It just doesn't look like it. It does. Look at the world. It doesn't look like all nations are going to have to worship me. And I have nerve to say it out loud. I'm not coming around the corner about it. I'm speaking head up, wide open, and it doesn't look like nothing can make this happen. But I remember coming to Miami about 12 years ago all by myself, and it didn't look like I would ever get anybody. My, how things have changed. From by myself, a journey to the Miami arena. Now, you know that's something. All nations shall come and worship the King. Zechariah 14, 16 through 19. No way to get around this. Oh, it sounds like Yahweh has saved himself for this day. I never thought I would ever say those words, national TV. I just never thought about it. I always said no. But see, now it's time to go home. So I have to call my sheep. My sheep got to hear my voice. I told you I'm tired. So when I get tired, I do big miraculous things. That's the way it is. Oh, let us read.
And it shall come to pass that everyone that is left of all the nations which came against Jerusalem shall be go up from year to year to worship the King, the Lord Yahweh of hosts, and to see the Feast of Tabernacles. And it shall be that whoso will not come up of all the families of the earth unto Jerusalem to worship the King, the Lord Yahweh of hosts, even upon them shall be no rain. And if the family of Egypt go not up and come out and have no rain, there shall be the plague wherewith the Lord Yahweh will smite the heathen that come not up to keep the Feast of Tabernacles. This shall be the punishment of Egypt and the punishment of all nations that come not up to keep the Feast of Tabernacles.
How many nations can escape this direct test? All nations. Now that means that something great has to take place. Right? Something miraculous is going to happen for all nations to be involved in this. And it says something about everyone that is left. You see, if you don't understand the mystery, look in the Middle East. See, it's not going to be a whole lot of folk left. But of all the nations that are left after Armageddon, Armageddon is promised, so it's got to come. I understand they asked Larry King and some other people on TV, well, you know, do you think that this is the war of Armageddon and people are going over and America, isn't it something we can, he said, there's nothing we can do about it. If it's written in the scriptures that the war of Armageddon is going to happen, there's nothing anybody can do about it. It's going to happen. So what do you want me to do? That's what he said. He's acknowledging he's powerless. That means that the enemy of Yahweh knows that he doesn't have long. He just doesn't have long. And he's getting real frantic about that. He's telling his boys dig in, and then on the other hand, they're talking about strike, and it's not going to be easy. It's going to be like the Bible says. That's what it says. And we've read in the Bible what's going to happen to their eyes and their tongue and the flesh on their body, right? You read it in verse 12, didn't you? Want to read it again? Yeah, read verse 12 again. Read.
And this shall be the plague wherewith the Lord Yahweh will smite all the people that have fought against Jerusalem. Their flesh shall consume away while they stand upon their feet, and their eyes shall consume away in their holes, and their tongue shall consume away in their mouth.
While they stand on their feet before their bones can hit the ground. Their eyes will be gone. Their tongues will be gone. The flesh on their bodies will be gone. And of all of them that are left, I think they'll probably be glad to come and worship me, the King of Israel. And there's a reason this is going to happen. The interrelation of the festivals of Yahweh is most important in understanding the meaning of each of them. They are interrelated. Each prescribed feast carries its own distinct meaning, though each culminates with the purpose of bringing man, especially Israel, into a closer relationship with Yahweh. Each feast also causes us to remember all of the miracles that took place at the hand of Yahweh, the miraculous things which Yahweh has done for us in times past. The feasts remind us of the miraculous things Yahweh is doing for us right now. In each instance of where our enemy comes up against us, Yahweh always reaches in, as he promised, to protect us. And that his will is never frustrated in behalf of us. All of these feasts keep us conscious of our obligations to Yahweh. Keeps us conscious of our obligation to Yahweh's will, keeping his will. And this will ensure our future with Yahweh. There is no future without Yahweh. We know that. We know our pitiful condition in America without Yahweh. And the whole time we've been in America, it has been a pitiful time. But we still live in America, yet our condition has changed. We still live in America, and you that are coming into the knowledge of Yahweh, receiving the knowledge of Yahweh, and making up your own mind to live the laws of Yahweh, your situation and your circumstance is changing for the better. As you begin to put Yahweh first in your life begins to increase on the positive side in every aspect that you can think of. Thus, you become witnesses that it's impossible to follow Yahweh and not be blessed. You become witnesses that the blessings of the Lord Yahweh do make us rich, and that he adds no sorrow with it. We begin to see that become real in our life. Where do we find that? Proverbs chapter 10, verse 22. Read.
The blessing of the Lord Yahweh, it maketh rich, and he addeth no sorrow with it.
Praise God. So the Feast of Tabernacles grants us the opportunity to give back to Yahweh that which he has blessed us with. In his mercy, he does not require us to give all back, just a portion. And as we give a portion of it back, he adds to our blessings. Feast of Tabernacles is a time to pay tribute to Yahweh. Not only for what he's done for us in the past, but to ensure that the same abundant blessings occur the following year and the year after and throughout our lives. How many understand that Yahweh is the agent of nature? Yahweh is the agent of nature. Therefore, as the agent of nature, Yahweh cooperates in all activities and therefore is entitled to share a part of what he blesses us with. It just shows appreciation. That's what it is. Yahweh simply blesses us by our showing him, Yahweh, I appreciate the blessings you have given me. That's just common sense in my opinion. Someone doesn't have to prepare a meal for you, and they do. Common courtesy is to say, thank you. Thank you. That's etiquette. Thank you. Someone comes up and gives you a good blessing. What do you say? Thank you. So thank you has been prescribed by Yahweh as a tenth. And free will offering. So that means that certain portions of your crops, your livestock, all of your first fruits should be rendered to Yahweh as concrete retribution for the help that Yahweh gives all of us. You may not know it at this moment, but the day is coming when the whole world must pay tribute to Yahweh. A sign of this was when all nations surrounding King Solomon's kingdom brought tribute to him. No exception. And he had a peaceful kingdom. His kingdom was not based on war. They all brought tribute because he was wise concerning the name. That must happen again, but it's going to be forever this time. Ultimately, the world will come to understand and gain the knowledge of Yahweh. That's what I'm publishing now, is my book, From Poverty to Riches. It's going to give you more knowledge and give the world knowledge of the name Yahweh. So as a result, they must pay tribute to Yahweh and for his unselfish and eleemosynary donations to all men. Yahweh is the giver of life itself. That's enough for all men to give. We must come to know that the tabernacle of Yahweh is with men. Revelation 21:3. The tabernacle of Yahweh is not with all men. It is with the nation of Yahweh, the tribe of Judah. Revelation 21:3. Read.
And I heard a great voice out of heaven saying, Behold, the tabernacle of Yahweh is with men, and he will dwell with them, and they shall be his people, and Yahweh himself shall be with them, and be their God.
You understand? Did anything in that shock you a little bit? And Yahweh himself shall be way away from them, with them. Yahweh himself shall be with them and shall be just another man, their God. That means that those with whom Yahweh dwells understand that he is Yahweh. That's why it's so important to me that only those who believe in Yahweh remain in Yahweh University. It's the only one. Because if your children are in Yahweh University not believing in Yahweh, then how can Yahweh dwell with them? Yahweh dwells with those who are not only conscious of him, but who receive him. And the proof of receiving Yahweh is when you live according to his will, not your will. It means you renounce your own will in all things when it comes to Yahweh. So that should touch somebody in here. Praise Yahweh. Then the prayer becomes real. Not your will, Yahweh. Not my will. Let's get it right now. It's not my will, Yahweh, but thy will, your will be done in the earth. Just like it is in heaven. Not my will, but thine. That's who Yahweh is going to live with and dwell with. Those who believe like that. It won't matter who does not believe like that. He won't be dwelling with them. They will be suffering all these plagues that you read about in the book. Those who do not accept Yahweh. So naturally, New Jerusalem will be where Yahweh dwells with you that believe and accept and receive and live according to his will. What a wonderful piece of knowledge to know that day is here. And there are those who are upset that it's here. That's not relevant either. See, I just want to bring it up because it means nothing. Those who don't like it are inconsequential. Our strength comes from you who like it. It's not important how many students are not in Yahweh University. What's important is how many are in Yahweh University, because they are the ones who receive the direct blessing from the teachings of Yahweh. You are the ones who receive the blessings of Yahweh because you're the ones who receive. Simply because you receive me. And just think, the creator of heaven promised to be here on earth with you and be your sovereign protector, divine God. Praise Yahweh. I read a letter today from a major of the Salvation Army who wrote me a letter, and he is real confused. And of course, you know he's a Gentile. He's very. Are you saying that you are the second Jesus? You know, in his letter and so forth. Of course, I don't feel any need to respond to him in any form. I may acknowledge that I received this letter, but I certainly have no need to respond to his questions. My point is, he wrote at the front of the letter, "Dear Mr. Yahweh ben Yahweh." See, y'all so sharp, so you got it already. See, he didn't say, "Dear Jesus." You know, something must be troubling him. My name is clearly Yahweh ben Yahweh. Why is he troubled about me being the second Jesus? I never said I'm Jesus. I said I am Yahweh ben Yahweh. So why is he troubled? What's troubling him?
At the first coming, Yahweh ben Yahweh was the Lamb. The second coming, Yahweh ben Yahweh will be the conquering lion.
This concludes night 7 of It's Time to Make a Choice, Part 1.
The second time that Yahweh ben Yahweh shall come, it will be with great honor and majesty. For now, his Father Yahweh has glorified him with his own self, and the world shall see Yahweh ben Yahweh as he is, God of gods, Lord of lords, King of kings, Master of the universe, with full power and authority to execute judgment in the earth. We all shall see him ascend the throne, receive the scepter of righteousness and glory on high. So rejoice, rejoice, rejoice.